One of the coolest features with iOS 18 is the satellite messaging. And I've been doing a deeper dive into it so I can tell you all about the satellite messaging, how it works, what phones it's going to work for, and talk about cost. Because that's something that seems to be overlooked is the fact that up front it's free, but at some point Apple is going to start charging for it. So I want to talk about all that in this video. But the first thing I want to talk about is who's it work for? So it's not just an iPhone 15 thing. This is for iPhone 14 series, 15 series, and newer. And it's not just the 14 Pro. If you have the regular 14, it's supposed to work with that as well, at least from whatever I was reading. And currently we have emergency SOS messaging over satellite. So if you're out in the middle of the wilderness, you're one of those unlucky people who goes to Yellowstone and you need help and your phone doesn't work, you can send out an emergency SOS message through satellite. And that's pretty cool. Well, we're getting expanded features on that now to where you can actually send a real message on your own. And you can send that either through iMessage or it'll send it over SMS protocol, which is actually really important because not everything receives a iMessage. Some stuff still uses the regular old SMS. So it's important for redundancy to make sure you can send either or. And RCS chat, if you are wondering about that, is not currently available. From what I was reading though, they're working on that. So at some point in time, RCS chat should even be enabled for the satellite messaging. So iPhone 14, iPhone 15, of course the 16 when it comes out. How does it work? Well, they actually have a demo on the Apple website. You can go check it out. But it says after some time, when you've been disconnected, you don't have a cell phone signal, you don't have a Wi-Fi signal, then it'll tell you that you can go ahead and use the satellites. And then to use the satellite messaging, you should get a pop-up in your little Magic Island thing, whatever it's called. I can't remember the name right now, but a dynamic island, and it'll help you find a satellite. And it reminds me of my old military days because we used to use something called a plugger back in the day of PLGR, and that was like the first major GPS kind of system that we had, and we would have to set it up, have to hold it out in the middle of nowhere. It had a little antenna and some buttons on it, and you would have to connect to a certain amount of satellites before it would work. And then you could get kind of pinpoint precision on where you were going. You could set waypoints. It would tell you what direction to go. Later we got the dagger, and that was even better. But anyway, yeah, I was a point man a lot of times on a lot of our field maneuvers, and I was the best one with the plugger, so I used it. So kind of same principle with this. You got to hold it and kind of search around until you find a signal. And then it'll give you some little tips like, watch out, get out from under trees, make sure in open space, there's no rocks, whatever. So once you establish the connection, it'll give you like a little green check mark, tell you you're connected, and then you can send a message. Now, there's two ways this works. So to limit the congestion on the satellite communication wires, you have to initiate it, unless it's somebody who's like in your friends and contacts list. So like, let's say, I'm not sure if it's friends and family or favorites, or if it's just anybody in your contacts, but they could send you a message or you could send them one. But if it's somebody who's not at least in your contacts, then you have to initiate the message first. They can't send you one and then you get it. So if you need to talk to somebody who's not in your contacts or you've got some other number you need to talk to, then message them first. So there's been a lot of hypothesizing about this. Is it going to be like free? Is it just going to be like, hey, I'm willy-nilly, I'm on a helicopter ride in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico going to an oil platform. I'm in the middle of my hunting lease. I'm out in the middle of Yellowstone. Can I just text away? Well, I think so. But here's the problem is what I was reading, and I thought it was just going to be free. But you should know Apple. Apple is going to charge you for everything, right? Heaven forbid you get anything free for Apple permanently. So it's like their little introductory crack rock. They give you the ability to use this, and then once you're reliant on it, just like with Apple Message, with iTunes, with Apple TV, they give it to you free for a year. Like, Apple is the king of giving you stuff for free for a little while and then charging you for it. So nobody knows what the pricing structure is going to be, but it bypasses the cellular networks because it's working over satellite. I can imagine that's not cheap, but Apple being like the multi-trillion-dollar company that they are, they could probably absorb that better than anybody else. If you heard a loud crash, it was my son closing the garage door with the lawnmower because think we're going to get hit with the tropical depression, maybe tropical storm tomorrow. But ultimately, Houston's going to get a lot of rain, and that's never a good thing for Houston. So, yeah, thoughts and prayers for my city. I had to go out and get groceries and gasoline and all that stuff earlier. But anyway, so yeah, we don't know what this is going to cost. All we know is that it's going to be free up front for an indeterminate amount of time. And then at some point, they're going to start charging for it. And this kind of relates back to how things worked with the Samsung Galaxy S24 when they came out with the AI. And then you read in the fine print with the asterisks, and it says free until 2025. Or, well, that means you get 2 free years, basically, or free till the end of 2025, I think. But anyway, basically, you got like 2 free years of AI services, and then it's implied that they're going to charge. So I have mixed feelings about it. I don't think this is something that most people are going to rely on using all the time, but there are even times in my day-to-day life when I go out of town, I go out to visit my family. I'm out in Nevada. I mean, I've gone out. Yes, even I will go out to the great outdoors sometimes. There's a place outside of Las Vegas that me and my family love to go to called the Red Rock Canyon. It's beautiful. Look it up, Google it. If you ever get a chance, go there. It's right on the outskirts of Las Vegas. Beautiful place. No signal out there. So it could be helpful out there. Or we like to travel by train. So that's pretty cool too. But there are spots when you're on the train where you just can't get a message through because you're in the middle of nowhere. Also, I'm wondering what the implications are on airline flights. Is this a way that you could bypass the traditional cell phone means and not have to pay for the in-flight Wi-Fi to use Wi-Fi, like messaging over Wi-Fi? So I'm going to be really interested. I'm going to test this out. Maybe I'll go on a journey whenever it comes out. Maybe I'll go do some cool stuff. And it's not going to be available in every country initially either. So there's a lot of unknowns that we still have to worry about with this whole satellite messaging thing. But I think it's cool. And Samsung and Android really need to come up with some sort of answer for this. Because we thought we were going to get it with the S24, didn't get satellite communication with the S24. So we'll see what happens with the S25. Haven't really heard a whole lot about this yet, but I think this is important. And one thing I do love about Apple is their interconnectivity and the way they do things, especially from like a safety perspective. Like they're all about it with the watches, with the phones, with everything else. And in addition to being able to use SMS or iMessage over satellite, you also can do Find My, so you can keep tabs on your devices. You can do emergency SOS. I think there's one other thing, but anyway. So I think it's cool. I wanted to talk about it, but I want to let everybody know, just take it with a little grain of salt up front. Like, don't get too addicted to it because they're going to start charging at some point, and we don't know what they're going to charge, and that's the question. Therein lies the rub. But I think it's cool. I love this stuff. I got to see some satellite message technology at Mobile World Congress last year, and it was a really big deal, and then saw some more this year. So we'll see what happens. We see how this technology develops and evolves as we go forward. It's an iOS 18 thing coming this fall. I don't know if it's available quite turned on for beta yet. If you're a beta tester, I don't do that. I learned my lesson years ago. I just wait for the official release. But anyway, that's all I got. If you have any questions or comments, thoughts, concerns, gripes, complaints, or witty things you want to say, then go for it. We'll talk about it in the comments section. As always, if you enjoy the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you guys next time.